Here.
Welcome to the Crowned Medium with your host, Lorenda Carr.
Nona! Hello! I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited. All right, everybody. So just so you all know, notice the last line on that right over there, right? So we're going to see, so you can see who we're talking to and be part of the live shenanigans. So I am with Miss Nona McCool. Also known Nona Hall McCool, right? Did I get it all right? Look at me go. Psychic medium extraordinaire. I'm so excited to have you on. We are going to talk about all the good stuff today. You and I have reconnected a couple times this past week and just kind of gotten all of our ducks in a row because we know like this technology stuff for you was just like, hey, I'm getting there. You're like, I'm learning and you have. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for learning and getting stuff down. And so just for some context and background, Miss Nona was the very first psychic medium reading that I ever had. I was in my 20s. I was going through a divorce and I was a single mom and my body, even though I was a dancer, like because I'd just given birth, like my body was changing, my brain was changing, everything was a hot mess about my existence. And somebody, when I owned a dance studio at the time, and somebody was like, you should go see Nona. And I was like, I don't know who Nona is, and I don't have any extra money. And then somebody gifted me for my birthday or something to go. And I was like, yep, I'm going to go. And I tell you what, this woman right here was the epitome of what we, especially here on the socials in modern day times, 30 years later, call ethical. Had so much care and mindfulness about my situation. And I look back now, Nona, and I go, wow, you really held it together because I was asking the craziest questions like, am I going to live past age 30? Am I going to be overweight forever? Am I going to ever get married again? Like I was asking all the questions that I tell people, don't ask those questions.
Yeah.
And I remember this ended up being a topic of conversation last night on the TikTok live, that how I had asked you, like, I wanted to know, was I gonna perish before age 30? Cause I couldn't see myself living that long. And you were like, you're gonna well into your 80s. You're fine. Whether that's what you got or not was irrelevant. I just knew from that moment on, I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. I got all kinds of time. So while we're getting the people in the room over on the Tickety Talks, make sure you guys are tapping this. You know the drill, but also notice the last line of my little banner here. If you would like to see Miss Nona, pop on over to the Tube of the U. So those of you in Instagram and Facebook land, same thing. We're going to be on the Tube of You and interviewing Miss Nona McCool. I just like your name because it's Irish.
Yes.
And everything. Yes. So Nona, I have so many questions. I cannot wait for my friends and my followers to meet you and get to know you. Tell me, hi, Amy. I want to know, and this is something in all of our conversations the last week or so, I didn't even think to ask you. I think I thought in my mind I asked you, but apparently I didn't. Is how, take me back to the beginning. Like, tell me about your story. Like, how did you get into doing this? What made you go, I think I'm psychic? Or like, what's your story? I want to hear your story in this journey.
Actually, when I was a little kid, I didn't know that I was different from other people. I thought everybody could do what I did. And as time went on, I started figuring out that I just knew stuff that other people didn't know. And it always came true, which freaked my family out, by the way. So it wasn't talked about and discussed for a very long time. However, when I was 29, a friend of mine said, I go to a really cool church. We do readings and stuff. I said, readings, really? I'd had a couple of readings, and she said, oh, you must come and go with me. I said, okay.
Okay.
So I went, okay. So I went to this meeting, and I could tell by the energy of the people that they were all of light. And I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew that they were my kind of people. I could tell.
I love that.
So I went to 1 or 2 meetings, and I think it was 2 meetings. And the second time I went, after the meeting, one of the readers there said, and Nona's going to be doing readings next week. I about fainted.
You were like, wait, what?
Was not even on my radar, had no, I said, I can't do. Yes, you can, and you'll be ready. And I got to tell you something. I worried sick all week, had physical symptoms of being nervous as hell. But I want to tell you something. When I got there, I settled in and I read for 30 people.
That's insane. And it just came to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
I like to touch things. I'm kind of tactile when I like to hold something that belongs to the person. That's excellent. But what I did in this circle, I would just put my hands on stand behind them and put my hands on their shoulders, and I would just talk. And I had people in tears of happiness. I had people that were shocked, and I was shocked. I was shocked too. That's what started the whole thing. That's when I realized I do have a message for people. I have a way to be able to message and help people heal. That's my main thing, is helping people heal. And I don't remember the exact reading that you're talking about, Miss Lorenda, but I got to tell you something. That makes my heart happy to know that you were in such a vulnerable place, and I carried you through that so that you left with hope.
Yes, I honestly did, because I was in that place. Like, I had no idea. I could not see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
There was no light at the end of my tunnel, and I could not navigate. Luckily, I was still rooted in not making dumb decisions, because I did have my daughter, but I was frozen in the fear of unknown.
Yeah.
And being the big Leo energy I am, I had to have control of everything. And it was what I came into with you, was learning to trust.
Yes. Thank you.
Just trust the universe, because, again, like I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast yesterday, but you made such an impression on me 30 years ago, when I was in that weird, dark place, that I seriously, honestly, I'm going to tell people like some of the things that you told me that day, because I've told this story. I've talked about you for the last 4 years on TikTok and on my show, and talking about that experience and how impactful it was, but also using it as a teaching tool, that as mediums, we don't always understand what we're getting. We just say what we get.
Right.
And we may see it as one thing coming out of our mouth, but it ends up being completely different for the sitter.
Yeah.
And that is okay. And that is okay, because ultimately the end result is what was best for the sitter and what spirit needed the sitter to hear. And so it's not our job to necessarily understand and know everything that's coming through. It's just, we are the voice for spirit. We deliver it and move on. So yeah, I have read people less than a year ago that'll be like, oh, I had somebody come up to me at a restaurant the other day. It was just like, I know you. Don't I know you? And I was like, I jokingly, I think I told you the story. I was like, I am famous. That's my comeback. It's my comeback for everything. It could be that they know me from school. They could know me through my husband. I don't know, but it's because I'm famous. And she's like, no, you're Lorenda. You did a reading for me. I watch you on TikTok. I'm like, oh. I was joking, but
yay.
But I didn't honestly. And then she told me her name, and it was a very, very unique name. Like, you and I have very unique names. So usually I'll remember a unique name.
Yes.
And And as soon as she said her name, I was like, oh my gosh, I do remember your name, but I couldn't tell you anything about that reading. So
Wow.
I don't expect, and there was a reader, I think I told you about her name's Linda Markham over at the Pyramid of Enlightenment when we talked about, I went to her once a year, every year for 20 years. Do you know that woman never knew me?
Wow.
Every time, because she would just get in her zone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And like, she wasn't there. she
Yeah.
was not. And you can relate to that. So
Yes.
it'd be silly of me to expect you to remember me 30 years ago. I would never expect that. But I think it's important at this point in time. I think it's a really good learning lesson for those people that I've got students I teach now that understand that the care that we and the responsibility that we have
Yes.
as mediums.
Yes.
And so keep tapping over there in the talks, friends. So I gotta do my it's like commercials, but not really. I got to keep the things moving, the conversation going over there. And also, if you guys have questions for Nona, whether it's in TikTok or any of the other platforms, make sure, and I've got Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So make sure you're asking the questions because I'm happy to ask her the questions. We've got her for a whole hour and a half. I'm so excited. I've been so excited about this. More than I could have the most famous medium on ever, and it still wouldn't be as exciting as I've been to have you here. So, and so good morning, Lisa. Hello, hello. So we're on the last line of the banner. That's where you can find us over there if you want to see my guest, Miss Nona. So I want to let's talk about honestly the reading that you gave me. Just you and I talked about it, and I think, and I want to hear your input on as you listen to this story now. If you would have done anything different, or if you would like, I would love to hear your input on this because I my favorite part is the Steve story. But I remember coming to you again, going through a divorce, and a single mom. My body had changed. I was only 23, 24 years old, and I was trying to be dance teacher, dance studio owner, but I was just, everything was a mess. And I was still in that fog, that new mom fog, because she was only 2 at the time. And I was just really trying to find myself. And I came to you and you're like, and I was like, my big thing was like, am I going to be poor forever? I mean, I was on welfare. I was living back at my mom's house. I owned a business. There were so many things that I should have been on a very different track. And I felt like I was getting stuck back in the thing that I wanted to escape most was the west side of Indianapolis, being poor, being in that position. And I remember sitting down going, okay, well, here are my questions. Am I going to be poor forever? And you were like, and I could tell your face was like, how do I cross this? How do I address this? And you go, no. And then you go, you're going to be really well off in your 50s. You were very specific. And now here I'm in my 50s, going live from my wine room. That you're like, you're going to be fine. Like you're going to work hard. And one thing I will say is you were like, what you saw in me was like, you are a Leo, you're a life path 3. That's where I learned about numerology was from you. Because then after that session, I didn't tell you that. I deep dove into numerology. I'm like, numbers, that makes sense. I'm obsessed. And I'm number 3. So I clung to that. Again, as a 23, 24-year-old, I clung to that. And I was like, okay, this numbers thing makes sense. All right, I'm a 3. I'm an entrepreneur. This all makes sense. And I'm a Leo. Yes, it's all tracking. I don't have to stay in this.
Right.
I don't have to be this. The universe had me born at this time so I could do amazing things. You told me I was going to do this. Really? You told me I was going to be a psychic medium. You told me I was going to write a book. You told me, and when I asked about, I was like, am I going to be overweight forever? Again, the look.
I'm thinking, how do I tell her, no, you're going to be fine?
Right. And you're like, but I think at the time it was like, why in the world would you come to me and ask me those questions? Because I get that as a medium now, when people are like, but am I going to be poor? Am I going to ever be happy? Am I going to get back with so and so? Am I going to da 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 da? And we as the practitioner have to help navigate them through that. So, but then I was like, am I going to be alone forever? Because at that point, the love of my life had cheated on me, left me. I was, again, my life was nowhere where I had planned for it to be. And I had given up everything. You were that beacon of hope to go, oh, no, you're going to get married again. His name's Steve. And I remember, I told you this story. I remember thinking, I don't even like that name. I don't even like the name Steve. Well, I don't vibe with that, but okay, Steve. Well, then that meant because I'm loyal to a fault and because of how I was raised to believe you should date. And if you dated too much, then you were, you know, kind of fast and loose, right? It wasn't
West
good to date.
yeah.
Right? West Side mentality, right?
Yeah.
And so I dated, but I would not get serious with people because they weren't Steve. I was just trying to navigate not being lonely, building up my confidence, learning how to like understand and date men, like just to be in that world again. So I never took any of them seriously because I knew I was waiting for Steve. And so I finally, like a year went by and I'm like, all right, well, then I met Matt, my now husband, and we start dating. And I'm like, I don't think this Steve thing is legit. Or maybe I need to give up on this Steve thing. I don't know. Psychics aren't always, even John Edward, Sylvia Brown will say they're not 100% all the time. So maybe she just got the name wrong. And plus I don't even like that name. And then I'm on a date with my husband, now husband. We were dating in Bloomington, and we come around the corner. My favorite part of the story is there was a giant red, very specifically giant red sign that was on the side of a billboard, on the side of a building. It was painted on, it said Steve's T-shirts. And that's when it came back to me that, oh. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, I've got a funny story to tell you. And so I married a guy and we saw the sign that said Steve's T-shirts. But had you not delivered the message how you did, it may not have had the same impact. I may never have met him.
Or realize that's who he was. Right.
So talk to me about, I want to hear your perspective on that. Like how, when you get those signs and people come back to you and say stuff like what I'm telling you, I know, right? It is crazy. Like how, I don't even know what question to ask you at this point. Like, I just kind of want your input. Like, what are your thoughts on all of this and how you function as a psychic medium in this?
It was, I can't ever say it was difficult because when I first began doing my readings, spirit would just take over. It wasn't something that I had to sit and think how I was going to say things. And it helped me to be able to trust spirit to give me the right words, because you don't want to blow people out of the water. But the information you have to give them, they may very well do that. So you have to read it through and put it in normal words so that people don't get distraught as a rule, because spirit just speaks the truth. Spirit just comes through with the truth. So I was always very cautious to not freak people out if I felt like they were getting antsy or whatever. One time I was doing a reading for a friend, but her friend was sitting in the other chair in the same room. And while I'm focused on this reading with this girl, all of a sudden a book falls off the bookshelf, off the top shelf of the bookshelf, fell right on her feet. Well, It was called the book I told you about, Initiation by Elizabeth Heitch.
Mm-hmm.
It was that book. Well, that she wasn't supposed to get a reading, but when it fell, I thought she was going to panic and run out of the room. I mean, she just was totally blown. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to do a little bit of reading for you too. Spirit needs to talk to you. And come to find out, she was in much worse shape than her friend was, but she was afraid because of religious background. She was afraid to get a reading. She thought it was evil. She was there to back her friend up. She wasn't there to get a reading. But I had a few things that I needed to say to her, and it wasn't a full reading, but it was enough to calm her down because her energy was like, the picture of the cat with the hair all sticking out. That's how she felt to me. Like all of her eyes were big and all of her hair was sticking out. And I just thought, oh, the poor thing. Well, I had to help her. I couldn't just ignore that. So it was something from Spirit going, shut up, quit talking to this one. You got to help this one. This one's freaking out over here. So it makes you feel good. It makes me feel good to know that Spirit is working with me in a gentle, loving, caring way that is so human, but it's also spiritual.
I love that.
That's what we're about. I've heard many readers. I've talked to some of them, and I swear I really have no judgment. People do what they got to do. I mean, I get it, but they're just sometimes it's like I've had people come to me and say, well, she told me that my husband was going to get killed in a car accident. Okay. When you tell people that, and you're a voice of somewhat authority, people grab onto that stuff and they don't let it go. So you know what happens? She ends up thinking that all the time. And pretty soon she creates that for her husband, because what our thinking patterns are is what we create in our reality.
Thoughts are things. Absolutely.
And so she came back to me. She said, well, he really did have an accident. And I said, thank God he didn't get killed.
Right.
And she just looked at me and she said, I don't understand why you're upset. And I said, I'm not really upset, but there's something you need to understand. When I told you that, I didn't want you to chew on it, because what we chew on is what we create in the physical. And she looked at me like she got it immediately. And she goes, did I create that? I said, honey, I kind of think you did. Because you just kept talking about it and giving it more energy every day, telling him to be extra careful. And she goes, I never thought of it that way. So I think that was a life thing for me to learn to say to almost every single person I've read for.
Yeah, because they're self-fulfilling prophecies. And I think that's where us, we psychic mediums, when again, we have that person's future is sitting in the palm of our hand right now.
And their heart.
The right person. And their heart, yes.
Yes.
And that whatever we say, whether it's true or not,
right,
because none of us ever claim to be 100% right.
Right.
People can latch onto that, and that self-fulfilling prophecy is a very, very real thing. Yes. And I had a client, not like in this past year, that said that a reader came up to her unsolicited, like she's minding her business, comes up to her and says, I have a message for you. Are you open to that? And she's like, I guess. And he proceeds to tell her all these things about her life, and then says, and oh, by the way, you will die by age 67.
See, why do people do that?
And do you know, she was like in her 30s at the time, like she was young.
Oh.
And so she clung to that.
Yeah.
So she comes to me this past year when she turned 67 in September, and she says, is this it? Do you see me dying? And I'm like, one, I have a deal with the spirit that I don't get to see that unless I can prevent it. Two, you could have died at any given point between now and 67. Yeah. The fact that you made it to 67 is a gift.
Yes. Yes.
3, what are you going to do with your time?
Exactly.
If you've been given that date, what are you going to do with your time? I personally, I'd be like, everything that I never did would get done.
Right.
I would do all the things. And the day that I woke, and then the next day I'd be like, wow, that was a fun time. And look, I still have more. I have more time. Look at me.
Yes, exactly.
And so she walked away feeling inspired to go, okay, so no matter what that prediction was,
Right.
and I even told her, I said, I come from the belief system that if I were to tell you, you are going to perish in a balloon accident, the option is you don't go in a balloon.
Right. Don't get in one then. Ever.
Just throwing that out there. Maybe avoid the hot air balloon situation.
Avoid the situation, exactly.
Just don't do
that.
Right. So there's that. How can we? The only time that information should come to my forefront, and the only time I'm allowed to see someone's death, is if it's preventable.
Yes.
I'm seeing one of two paths or one of many paths to choose from. And honestly, it's only happened twice. One person listened, the other didn't. And the other is no longer walking this earth and passed exactly how I told her. And I remember that it was the first time I'd ever gotten that download of panic. I'm like, I'm not telling her that. Are you kidding me? I'm not telling her that. And they're like, you need to tell her.
She needs to know.
Because she has a choice. This is not inevitable.
Right.
And all of a sudden, spirit, at that point, I had not done any kind of trance or channeling training yet. All of a sudden, spirit was speaking through me.
Yes, ma'am.
So it was not about me. It was not my thoughts. It was because I think spirit saw, oh shit, she's panicking. She's going to shut down. That's it. We're going in. Look out. Moving my consciousness out of the way and allowed that information to come through. Yes, and she sat with it, but part of my soul knew she wasn't going to listen.
Yeah.
And I hated that for her. And 2 years later, I got a phone call from our mutual friend, and she was like, yeah, I just came from a funeral. Oh, wait, you knew her. I think you read for her once. I'm like, oh my God, please tell me it wasn't so-and-so.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I said, and she told me how she passed. It was exactly what spirit showed me.
I kind of have the same thing with my spirit guides, and people say, well, you should have known that. You should have told me that. And I tell them the same thing. Certain things are none of my business. I'm not in the business of creating your life for you. That's not what I do. And I really have to go back to this whole thing about the 67-year-old. I had a thought while you were talking. Mm-hmm. When you think about it, the reader that told her that she was going to die or pass, or however it was said, at 67, didn't have to mean physical death. It could have meant a death of how she'd always believed before. And I think when you read for her, you took that up from her and said, oh no, that's just, you be done with all that old stuff.
Yes.
Let it go, let it die. You've got new stuff on your plate to look at. So even then you can go, well, that was probably a good thing. Now, I just want to make sure people understand whatever you're told. I've heard my whole life that smoking causes cancer. I've heard that my whole life, but here's it. I never bought into that. I never did from the very beginning. And I've been a smoker for, 50 years. And I've never had 1 minute of trouble. You know why? Because I don't believe that. For me, I don't have to accept that as my reality. And it's not that I advocate smoking, because I wish I'd never started. Right. But it is what it is. And I just think it's okay. I'm doing the very best I can do. You know what I tell people? Oh, honey, if you only had any idea how many bad things I used to do, this is the only bad thing I got left that I do. It could be a lot worse. That's what I tell people.
Like, listen, this could be a bigger train wreck than you could ever imagine.
We'll stick with this one life. Exactly.
But I do believe there's merit in we create our own reality. We also, but also there are bad things that happen to people that we never thought of, that we did not manifest.
Right.
I believe that we are all on a very individual journey. We decide what our goals are before we come here. We
Yes.
have certain lessons we're trying to learn. We have certain vibrations we're trying to be in. And yes, I believe that there are people that we align ourselves with, that we know we have soul contracts, however you want to put it. We're going to
Yes.
be aligned with. We've got our spirit team that's with us from birth to death. There are things that are consistent and in place, but there are way more things that are left up to us and
Yes.
our own free
Free will.
will.
Yeah.
That, and even as psychic mediums, as us giving advice, I tell people, I'm like, well, I'm not going to predict your future, but let me show you what the paths are. If A, then B, if C, then D. Like this is where you end up. I can also see, like, ahead of time, I'll tell people, it's not that I'm being negative, but if I see a train coming, if you see a train coming, you have a choice to stand on the tracks, or maybe, I don't know,
Get out of the way.
get out of the way.
Thank. Step off of the track.
You have a choice. You have a choice. And the curiosity of standing there going, but will it hit me? That's
Yeah.
never a good option.
No.
Never, because it will.
Yes, it will.
It's gonna,
You know,
it's
get out of
gonna
the
run
way.
me over.
How many
Yeah.
times have I been hit by a train? How about you? You know, we all
Right.
have those moments. I mean, that's just part of
Yes.
living this life is,
Right.
and now what I say, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And for the first time, it's not a train.
It's not the train. That's a great one. I haven't taken
It's
that.
really not a train.
I see a light, and it's not a train getting ready to run you over. I love that, actually. Okay, I'm totally stealing that. Totally stealing that analogy.
Okay.
I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. It's not an oncoming train. I love it. So now let me ask you this. This is something I've kind of pondered. Do you think that sometimes spirit will give false or vague information in order to sway or to keep someone on the path that they're supposed to be on? Like, for instance, you're such a great medium, and there's no way, Steve.
There
Okay,
was
but what you told me forced me, spirit knowing me the way they do, I made choices that would keep me from jumping in and going neck deep with any other relationships before Steve came along.
So I saved you.
You did.
I saved
You
you.
saved me.
I saved you.
I want to tell you what, the people I dated between that and Matt I look back and go, wow, yikes.
What was I thinking? Yeah.
What was I thinking? But you know what? They were vibrationally in alignment with where I was at the time. And I tell people now, I'm like, do not meet people at your worst.
No.
Do not try to date when you're at your worst, because that's exactly who you're going to come with.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think spirit will do that? They'll give us those little nuggets as mediums or psychics. Do you think they give us false or off information to persuade the client to do something different? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm sure that is a possibility in many occasions, but I can truly say that I don't feel like I have ever deliberately given false information.
No, I don't think we do. I think we give what spirit says.
But if it came from spirit and well, it's never felt false. You know, I'm having a hard time answering that, Lorenda, because I get where you're coming from, and maybe for some people, but if it wasn't of account, then I just ignored it. You know,
Okay,
I would ignore it if it made me uncomfortable to be able to say something like that. Then I would not say it, because that was my spirit saying, you don't want to pass this along. So sometimes it's because it's information that spirit thinks, okay, well, go ahead and tell them about this and this. And I'm going, but they'll freak out. If I tell them all of that, they'll get freaked out. And I don't want to get them freaked out, but there's a way to give information, you know, as well as I do. You figure it out pretty quick. Yes. There's a way to give information so that it is on target. It's the right thing at the right time, and you don't blow them out of the water. when I'm leaving,
Right.
crying hysterically. Oh my goodness. That would have hurt my heart.
Right. Right. Well, and okay, so one of my friends, Angel, says, I don't think it's false. I think it's more like a parable or something that will be true. So but then you have all these people that go to mediums that are awful, that don't have an ethical code. They've never trained, they've never taken time to develop, whether it's with spirit or a mentor. They've never done any of that.
Right.
They just know they have this thing and they say whatever comes to their mind. I've known a few of those.
Yes, me
But
too.
even though that person received false information and negative information, it actually ended up leading them on a path that they were supposed to be on. So it
Mhm.
makes me wonder,
Mhm.
do you see what I mean? Like you and I would, like, we're going to say, we're going to hold integrity. We're going to do the best we can to leave a person better than when we found them.
Right. Right.
But it just makes me wonder if sometimes spirit drops not false nuggets. I don't want to say false, but like things that force a person to go a different direction.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying. I agree.
You see what I mean?
I do. I do. I get
Because
that.
again, it's not that you delivered the Steve message in the wrong way. It was that did end up happening exactly. Like it was just, but because you told me that, it made me be mindful
And put it mindful and put
do
it
things and do things differently because spirit knows me better than anybody else.
Yes, ma'am.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So it makes me wonder, like, if spirit works through mediums, even the ones that are awful, to get us to do certain things that because they know us so well. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. That's their job, is to keep us protected so that we can do the work that we came in to do. And anytime I would get tripped up, very rarely does that happen in a reading. I don't remember any time, except I did get choked one time because my sinuses started draining right in the middle of a reading.
Of course they did.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to talk. And nothing's hardly coming out. And so I have to I have to get up, leave the room, go get a drink of water, and made a mental note. All right, water. Every time you read, make sure you got your water.
Right.
It was just a learning thing as I went on. But that was the one time I was all choked up. And then I thought, maybe I'm not supposed to be telling her what I was fixing to tell her.
Yes. Yes. Because I've had that where spirit will be like, all of a sudden I can't talk or I can't finish the thought. Like the thought literally leaves my head. I'm like,
yes. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Just
Moving
kidding.
on.
Like, JK, it's fine.
And I hate it when people catch that and they go, well, what's wrong? What just happened? It's like, I'm having a reset moment. I'm just having a reset.
Spirits like, just setting it straight. Yeah, hitting the reset button. All right, let's see. I've got a couple comments up here. Let me go back. Mystic Moon Gypsy says, I think they would give an idea or slow you down to help you from something that could affect you. Yes, I think so too.
Yes.
Angel says, source throughout history has always turned or used evil for good, turn it around. Oh, you know what? That's kind of a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Anna Rose, read the room, please. Thanks. Yeah, feel free to mute that. Do you want fries with that? Jeez. So I have this thing where if people come into the room, they're not reading the room and they just drop their personal questions like, am I ever going to be happy? I'm like, we're having a discussion here. Would you do that? Would you walk into a party of strangers and just be like, am I going to get married?
Exactly.
And how many people do you think are going to like answer? Or they're just going to tell you get out. So I've got a French fry crown. I've got French fry merch now. So, would you like fries with that? Would people come in and drop their questions? Do you want fries? Do I look like a drive-through medium? Do I look like you could just pull up and shout your question at the drive-through so I can?
Oh, by the way,
fries with that? Even then, you wait for someone at the drive-through to go, "Hi, how can I help you?" Yeah.
Yeah,
We
they
at
don't
least
just
wait to
start
be
shouting.
acknowledged.
Yes, exactly.
You know, just walk, you see just driving up to the drive-thru and be like, fries.
Exactly. And they're all going, "Did you hear what that lady just said? What's wrong with
Who is
her?"
that? Is someone yelling at the speaker right now? We didn't even know anybody was there. What do they do? We're not even open.
Not even open.
They're not. Yeah. You want to shake with that? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I had more questions. Hold on. So what has been your I've had people that will not get readings. Like they're like friends of mine or whatever, because they fear that I'm going to see all their deep dark secrets. What do you tell people about that?
I already have.
Oh, okay. I tell people it's none of my business. I don't want to know your secrets. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's like, why would you even, what, if you go see a psychic, why would you do that? I mean, wouldn't you assume that that person would be able to see all
But
that?
I think people avoid getting readings because they fear that we can see all their deep dark secrets.
Yeah.
But what's been your, I mean, do you, if I sit down in front of you, are you seeing my entire life story and all my deep dark secrets?
No.
That's what I would, that's what I want.
Because that's none of my business. That is none of our business to get into their stuff. Now, if they specifically ask me about something, that gives me verbal permission to go into it and look at it. But there's been several times where I just said, okay, and just move on because it was something I didn't even want to deal with. Or it could have been something that they need to hear, but they're not ready to hear it. I found that to be true quite often, and they would rebook and come back like within a month or so, and then it was like in that time period they had opened themselves up to being okay with whatever I needed to tell them.
Right.
People know more than they think they do. People are a lot more in tune than they know they are. Yeah.
And I think that's also another really good point. We as like professionals in this industry, we have an obligation, I feel like, to point that out to someone, be like, I feel like you already knew the outcome of this.
Yes.
Were you looking for actual guidance or validation?
Right. Or both.
Or both. Or both.
Right.
And teaching them that they can trust their own intuition. I tell people all the time, like, listen, I'll be happy to take your money.
Right.
However, wouldn't it be great if you could learn to work with your spirit team on your own? And like you come here with them, like we all have them, not just psychics. Everyone has a spirit team that's trying to get us to the other side safely, to this finish line safely. So why not learn how to utilize them and trust your intuition?
Right. Exactly.
Trust you do know things. If you feel like you have to come to a psychic medium to ask if your husband's cheating, then I feel like you already have your answer.
Isn't that the truth?
Right. Like, I mean, if you want to ask me that, I could tell you, or I could be like, how about we talk about how you empower yourself to make sure you know what's happening?
Right. And if and when that time comes, how are you going to handle it? I mean, I would move them through it so that they're not traumatized. Right.
Yes. How do you deal with it? And how do you face it? What are tools here? Let's talk about the tools. And I do feel like sometimes as mediums, we tend to be, we're a version of a therapist. I'm not claiming to be a therapist. I do not have the licensure to be a therapist.
Right.
But people, I feel like I get deeper, darker questions than even a therapist would get sometimes.
Me too. I agree.
You know?
100%. Yep.
That maybe wouldn't come out to a therapist until like several sessions in, where I'll get complete strangers who are like, I'm just going to throw this out there. And they'll ask the deepest, darkest questions, Hi, Truth Wave. Uh-oh, Nona's frozen.
I'm back.
There you are. Yay. So anyway, I feel like it goes back to that obligation of care.
Yes.
that we have as practitioners. Why do we doubt our own intuition? That's a really great question. So what do you tell people? What are your thoughts on that?
Well,
Why do we doubt?
I doubted everything when I was a kid because I mean it was not a pleasant experience. But as time grew on and I started understanding that I'm really responsible for everything that I think, do, and say on all levels. One of the main things I would let my people know is that you're not, excuse me, you're not going to be perfect. It's not going to be exactly the way you want it, but you need to understand that if you're present and you do the very best you can do, you're going to make bad decisions, you're going to make great decisions. But people, I found, especially 20, 30 years ago, were so caught up, so stuck with trying to be perfect in every way and doing everything exactly. So my parents will be proud, or my grandparents will. It's like, no, honey, do your life for you. That's what's important. You've got to do your own life. And once, because I finally got that myself. I mean, I was like 30 years old, but better late than never.
Right.
So I learned that people need that. People need the validation in the first place. And a lot of times they really do need answers.
Yes.
A lot of times they do need answers. Even things that I had a lady ask me one time, she said, I think my husband's getting ready to die. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And she goes, well, he's been working on it for a long time. And I remember just looking at her and going, okay.
The Nona look.
Yes. Okay. And I said, well, why is he done? Do you think he's done? Well, he thinks he is. He doesn't ever. And she was just going on and on and on. I said, stop it. Just stop.
Simmer down.
Bring it down. I said, been with this man, how many? It was like 37 years or something. And I said, you know what, honey, just do your own walk and your own talk and let him do what he's doing. And she called me a couple of days later and she goes, I thought about what you said and I just had to take myself off of that griddle. I said, good way to put it.
Yes.
Hallelujah. So she did. And she said that she was sleeping better already. I mean, it's those things that people don't understand, how they just get pinched or stuck with stuff. Mm-hmm. And it just keeps coming up in different ways. But we don't have to allow that. We do not have to allow that. If it's upsetting, I tell my spirit guide, don't bring me anything that's going to upset me or my client.
Right. This is supposed to be a healing experience.
Yes. I don't want it to be blowing people out of the water and then trying to put them back together because you got a client coming in 10 minutes. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. So did I explain what I was talking about? Did I go where I was supposed to go?
You did. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Miss Nona. You did it.
Thanks,
you did it. I love it. So I kind of, okay, let's turn a corner. Let's go down a different road here. So I completely forgot until you and I were talking the other day, and I knew this years ago, but I was living further. I don't remember. I was not living close to where I could do anything about it. And I don't think I was working a ton, but also you started your own church. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, 100 years ago, something like that.
At least 75. Yes, so I got my chart for the Temple of Light, and it came on the heels of going to that church the first time when I did read. Everything happened so quickly. Like I went to the church a couple of times, I started doing readings, and then I had readings to do in my home, and then I was buying every book I could get my hands on. I was buying every deck of tarot cards that I could work with, and just kind of went overboard with everything. I was just so excited about all of it. And it really, I was amazed that I knew what I knew. I was amazed that I could do what I do because I didn't know to what extent. And it was so gratifying. That's the best word. It was gratifying to me because I could tell I was making people feel better. And I wasn't even laying on the pants, which I knew how to do by then, but I didn't know that was really a big deal until I really started working with the healing energy and helping people. And I'm on a 6th life path, and it just really is my job. That is my job, to be of service and to be of help and do what I do. And yeah, make extra money. Absolutely. But that's never been my thing. That's not been my thing. And when I started my church, it just all came together all at one time. It was like I was doing readings, and then I had a church, and then we're doing readings every week, and then I'm doing psychic fairs, and then it was crazy. I don't know how I did it physically when I look back at all that I did, but I knew I was where I was supposed to be. Being thrilled. I felt abuse. I felt for the first time in my life that I'm really doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's been that way ever since. Yeah. I still feel that way. And I'm humbled. I get humbled by the people that I read for. I get humbled because some of them have never had a reading before. They could be 60 years old and never even thought about having a reading. And they find me when it's time. They just find me. My friend said, you ought to have a website, or you ought to do this, or you ought to advertise. It's like, no, I like word of mouth. I may change my mind now that Miss Lorenda's involved here. I might decide I need to do a little more.
Now that you see how all this works, I don't know. It could be kind of fun.
And it is fun. It is fun. And I'm thinking, how many more people could I help? How many more people could I just say just one phrase to? I've done that in the store. Have you done that in the store yourself? Where you just walk up to somebody and go, you know what, honey, I've actually done that. I've done it to people checking me out before. I just look them square in the eye and said, I know you're having a really hard time now, but I got to tell you something. Give yourself another 2 or 3 days and you're going to feel so much better. I don't care if they understand it or not, because you know what? They do.
Now that is a good message, I believe, to bring people. And I think when we can sense that, and a grocery checkout person's a perfect example. Like, yes, when we sense that something is amiss, for us to step into that kindness, that we can honor that. We don't have to be like, hi, your dead mother's here. Because we don't know where their belief system is. We don't know.
But it's none of our business. That's none of our business at that point.
And that actually happened one time. I was at lunch with a friend and I felt a spirit. Now I have a hard rule. Like if my close sign is up, I'm being human right now, but a spirit stepped up and I'm like, oh, somebody's mom is here. Welcome. Do you want a drink? You need a martini? What do you need? Offering to have a seat. But then our server walks up and starts just kind of randomly talking about her friend in this situation. I was like, first of all, why are we talking about this? Second of all, okay, spirit, here we go. My eyes, when I pick up spirit out in the wild, my eyes do this weird thing and I can't. And so I'm like, oh, damn it. And my friend with me was like, she's looking at me and I'm like, stop it. And so this gal starts talking about this situation with her friend. And we're like, this is unprompted. But also the mom goes like, she says, don't tell her I'm here. But then I'm listening to her and all of a sudden I knew exactly how to answer, like give her advice. I said, mom of 3 adults here. Can I give you some advice on how to help your friend? And she's like, yes. And I let mom speak through me. That was mom giving that advice. And she was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. That's perfect. She goes, you know what? My mom passed recently. And normally I would call her and ask her about these things, but she's with Jesus now and God bless her. And so she had that religious hardcore background that if I would have said to her, your mom's standing here, that would have freaked her out.
She would have dismissed the whole thing right there.
Correct. So I was able to deliver mom's message without being the, hi, so I'm a psychic and I have your mom here. It wasn't like that at all. So I was able to deliver that message and do what I'm supposed to do. That spirit trusts me with this. Spirit is trusting me not to hurt people. Spirit is trusting me to have integrity. So, and also spirit has to respect my boundaries. You know,
Exactly.
if I'm out
And
having a cocktail,
we cannot let them override that. Now, I've never really.
Uh-oh, we got internet issues.
Talk. So back again.
You are back now. All right. Oh, sort of. Hang on. You're glitchy. We'll figure it out. What questions do you guys have over in TikTok world? What do you guys got going on? What questions do you have? All right, hold on. We're coming back. You're coming back. We almost have it. Dang it. Just glitchy.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right. So we were talking about setting.
You're not talking.
You're just a little bit. Yes. Even the computers are like, it's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Well, and I'm back in a room at the end of my house, and all my internet connections and stuff are way up there, and it's solid brick and concrete walls. So I'm amazed that it's doing as well as it is.
Right. So listen, you and I are going to talk about how to make sure your internet, we're going to have to get you extenders or like internet extenders. So when you go start doing readings online,
yay.
We're going to get you set up, Miss Nona. The world needs you.
They said, thank you for that. They said, well, I don't know how you can do a reading over the phone, because I used to insist it was person to person, that they would come to my house. But with COVID, it changed everything.
Yes.
And then I told Spirit, if this is what's going to happen, then you need to make sure connections, and they have not failed me at all. They get me the connection to the people that I need. So
exactly. Well, and my mentor at Camp Chesterfield has no website, she's an internationally known medium. Like she's in her 70s, and she gets flown. Her name's Glenda Carteret. And I think she's now president. She was vice president, but I heard through the grapevine yesterday, she might be president now at Camp Chesterfield. And she's still hitting it hard. Like she doesn't play. I love her. But she doesn't have a website. She doesn't she still does all her readings on phone. If she and I have a mentorship, it's either in person or on the phone. We don't do Zoom necessarily, but now with COVID, Camp Chesterfield was forced to put all their classes. If they wanted to stay alive, they had to put their classes online. So now they are stepping into that space of offering a lot more classes, and a lot of mediums will do Zoom, but she's still pretty old school that way. She still has a regular clientele. She's got people that have been coming to her for 30 years.
Right.
And you know what's funny is I love your story about how you're like, well, I just went to church and then they announced that I was going to do readings, and there I was. That is what happened with her.
Wow.
That was what happened. She had been going there for, classes, and just as a fun girls' weekend kind of thing. She'd go do classes, and Reverend Louise, her mentor, was like, so what's more natural for you, trance or mental mediumship? And she's like, out of my face fell trance. And she goes, wait, hold on. I take that back. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm not a medium. And all of a sudden now here she is 30 plus years later, running the joint. So, she's a fantastic mentor, but she still does things kind of old school, and there's nothing wrong with that, because yes, you're right. Spirit will bring the people to you that need to come to you.
Yes.
And I will say my social media journey has been a blast. I love it. I've met so many amazing people, and I can now call myself an international medium because I have clients literally all over the world because of technology. Yes. So nobody's, I think everybody has their journey and their way of doing things, and we just honor it. And Spirit will meet us where we are and where we are comfortable and where we can best serve.
Right. And as long as I'm comfortable, because I'm a Virgo and everything has to be perfect and right and on time. And if I get the least bit out of line or whatever, spirit kind of jack slaps me and go, come on, get it together, girl. Sometimes they're not very nice about it. They're really kind of pushy, if you know what I mean. But sometimes I need to be pushed.
Right. It was like the baby bird that's got to be kicked out of the nest before they decide to spread their wings and try. And I think when spirit knows what we're capable of, but we fear what we don't know, they will kick us out of the nest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we
start your own church and doing readings out of the blue. And I feel like I got thrown from the boat into the water, but I could swim. I didn't know that I could get thrown out of the boat and survive. And that's when I figured out, well, spirit's got me. This is okay. I got this. I can do this. I love it. I love it. I'm going to start doing a little different. I've been talking to my spirit guides and Neil. I am going to be doing a lot of full body healing.
Yeah, that was what I was going to talk to you next. It was that you do healing. Okay. Also, talk to us about that.
I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't understand from the time I was little. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally started understanding about the healing energy in my hands, I would be around people, my hands would get hot and I wouldn't understand why. I never knew what that was until I was told about the healing. And I've done remote healing for years. I've got several clients that have cancer problems, or they have heart issues or whatever, and they'll call and say, I need you to send me some healing, and I can go right in. Can I tell you a story about a man I did a healing on? Oh my goodness. I almost forgot about this. Many years ago, probably 30 years ago, this man came to me and he has his wife with him, and she was driving, he could hardly walk. Come to find out, long story short, he was a Vietnam veteran and he had been in crucial pain every day since he got out of the army, and he couldn't even work. He couldn't even stand. He could barely walk. Anyway, so I put him on my table, and I'm not real sure what I'm moving my hands where spirit is telling me to put my hands. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, when I'm getting excuse me, getting over a cold, mm-hmm. I kept seeing these little white balls inside his body, and I'm looking, I don't know what to do. The spirit said, put your thumb on them. And I put my thumbs on them and they would disperse. And then I do another and it would disperse. So anyway, it took me probably about 20 minutes to do the healing. And when I got done, I realized he was moving on the table funny, and I realized he was sobbing.
Wow.
Okay. I was totally freaked out. I'm going, are you okay? And he finally sits up and he's just sobbing. And he said, this is the first time in so many years that I have not felt any pain. And he went home and he cleaned the gutters on their house and everything. And it was because all that stuff was stuck in his body. Doctors don't know how to remove that. Doctors don't see that. Right. But I could tell that he was just where he was stowed up. And the last I heard, he was doing just fine. He got a job and he was working. So that blew me out of the water, that I could make such a positive difference for somebody that I'd never met before, never touched or talked to, and just to lay him down in 20 minutes and make him free of pain. That made me feel so good. This is what it's about. I remember thinking, this is my ticket. So I really think, even through all the years of my readings about, love, life, and money, et cetera, and it's all part of the game. We all get it. I understand. But the healing part, that's my specialty. That's what I love to do. And I'm really pretty good at it. I'm just saying. I
love that. You're like, I'm just saying I might be okay at it. Might be pretty good at it. I love that. Well, and that, I feel like even as psychics and mediums, like if we can connect to spirit in the way to communicate, we should be able to do energy work, because energy is energy. And you know what? It just occurred to me.
Yes.
You told me also, you told me all those years ago that I would do hands-on healing. You did tell me that. I
Did
don't.
I?
You did. I do healing, but in a remote way, very similar to what you're talking about, but I don't touch people.
Yeah. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I just don't have people come to my house. I don't have a place for people to do that, but I do it through like past life regression and then higher self to higher self.
Okay.
And also I'm weird about personal bubble and personal space.
Yeah.
And so I've never done like hands-on stuff. Now that I will cure a child in dance class. And I cured my own children of everything with magic mommy hands.
Yes, it's the same thing. It's
the same thing. Oh, we keep losing. Okay, are you back? You froze for a second. It is, yes, it's the same. It is the same thing. It's like the hands-on, the energy, and all that.
I'm here.
Okay, good. We just froze for a second. That's all. So
yes.
So I do the healing. Again, you called it. You do the healing, or I do the healing just in a different capacity than what I could have ever imagined. And of course, 30 years ago, we weren't thinking. Yeah. 30 years ago, we weren't thinking, oh, and on the internet, we're going to remotely heal. Nobody was thinking that. Right. So,
right. Exactly.
So now, you're hoping you're going to be, because listen, you and I were talking, you took a little time off this year to kind of reset and redo. And now you're ready to jump back in, aren't you? Oh man, we're losing her. She's going to have to reboot, I think.
From a client I hadn't talked to for, I think, about 4 or 5 years. And she wants a reading just this morning. I haven't talked to her for a long time. Her mother was a reader too. And we were friends and we do psychic fairs together and stuff, but I hadn't talked. And then she passed, and this is her daughter. So I thought, it's already working, Lorenda. The energy is already working. Here it is.
Yes. I love that. Well, and of course, we're going to put your information in the chat so people can find you. And that way, if they want a reading with you, they can reach out to you and book. And and now that way, because I want, it just amazes me again, hearing, and I sent a number of people to you over the years because you were the only psychic I knew, but you had such a positive impact on me that I know I sent tons of people to you. I'm like, well, the only one I know is Nona. You got to go see Nona Hall. You got to go see Nona. And I know there were a number of people did come to see you, and all rave reviews. And this has been, again, 30 years. And the fact that you told me, the other thing that I forgot to tell you is that you were like, well, you told me about my first spirit guide that I would have known, or that for me to know. And you're like, well, you have a spirit guide named Tall Chief. And he's a giant, he's Native American. He sits on a horse, and he's here and he's with you. And so again, I knew nothing about spirit guides, I knew that we all had one. So I just clung to, that was my spirit guide. And then many years later, I had another psychic be like, well, you've got a Native American that sits on a horse. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Tall Chief. I know him. He's my spirit guide. She's like, oh, well, that's just one of a few. He's your protector. And then, over the course of time, I met and got to know, as I learned how to do this, my other spirit team. But yeah, Tall Chief has been a strong presence since for 30 years. Because you told me about him.
Oh, thank you.
I know. See, I'm telling you, there was so much that came from that half an hour that we were together, or however long it was, that it just makes me mindful, grateful, first of all, and also makes me mindful of the impact that I can have on someone long term, good or bad.
Ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Yep.
And we don't get to call good or bad. We just give our information and what they do. good is going to make it good or bad for them. But that's not our business.
Right. Right.
You know, we can't get into that.
And there are people I've seen, especially on TikTok, and when we run in a lot of the same social circles, a lot of the readers do. I will see people go from reader to reader to reader to reader, trying to get readings, but they're asking the same question over and over again. It's like they will not stop until they get the answer they want.
Right. Right.
How often do you feel like you come across that?
Quite a bit. And it kind of goes in cycles, especially if somebody is recommending me. I don't usually have to break barriers down because they come in pretty open. I did have a guy show up at my house one day, and he said, knocked on my front door. I opened the door, and it's a big man, and I said, yes. And he goes, tell me I'm going to get a divorce. And I said, and you are. Well, then he went on and explained, well, you talked to my wife and you told her we were going to get a divorce and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. Long story short, I said, well, you just come on in and we'll talk about it. He already felt better about the whole thing. And I said, now, I don't know if you're going to get divorced or not. It's none of my business. But I'm just telling you right now, things have got to change if you're going to stay together. It cannot continue the way that it's been, because I felt like two lions just crashing into each other. And he agreed. Well, he not only got a divorce, but he became one of the members of my church and became a member of the board of the church. And he helped me so much. So I was scared to death at first, and he'd tell me I'm getting a divorce. It's like, I don't know what to say here, because I didn't remember telling anybody they were going to get a divorce. And then when I talked him right out of his tree, and he went on to have a very happy life. So, you know, those things that even we get blown out of the water with, it's happening for a reason. He was supposed to be a part of my life. And I would have never met him had I not read for his wife. I would have never met him. And he was an integral part of my life for about 15 years.
That is great. What a great story, though. Like what a great testimonial. How we are given those opportunities to help people turn a corner, see things differently, prove the continuity of life, and empower people. Like that is what
Yes.
I feel like we are supposed to do, and to help them find the best version of themselves.
Yes.
You know,
and be okay with that. Don't try to fix it, change it up, and make it different. Accept it, what spirit gives you, and roll with it. That's what you do. Yeah. Wow. I love that story. I love that story. That's my favorite one so far. That's my favorite. What a great ending too. Like what a long term, because, you know, I will say for years, I was told, not by you, after I was married to Matt, that I was going to get a divorce and be with someone different. And I was like, honey, every psychic was telling me this. I was getting divorced and I'd be with someone new. And I just couldn't, it was such a crazy up and down relationship with my now husband of 27 years. And I kind of clung to that, but I just could never figure out how to make it happen. I'm like, if that's supposed to happen, like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Why, if I'm supposed to be divorced and with someone different, how come everything keeps coming crashing back to, we're still here. I'm trying to be open. I'm trying to manifest the best outcome. Well, fast forward, we did separate for a little while. And I was like, I've got to do this work. If you don't like this work, if you don't like who I am, then we're not happy. You don't even like me. Why are we trying to do this? We can co-parent, but you don't even like me. Like what? Why are we trying? So we ended up separating, and that threw him. He was like, wait, you're serious? Oh, wait, you did. Oh, you moved out. Holy cow. We're separated now. And I was like, yeah, you got to do some work, buddy. He did do the work. I am now married to a very, very different person. So
it goes back to how many people said you're going to get divorced.
Yep.
And be married to somebody different, when really the verbiage should have been, how do we empower you to be the best version of yourself so you'll be in alignment with the person that you're supposed to be with? So I never tell people they're going to get divorced. I never tell people what their relationship's going to look like because of free will.
Well, when you think about it, the man that you went back to was a different man.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I am married to a different person. There was no divorce. We did separate. So it goes back to being mindful as readers. How are we delivering that information?
Right. Exactly.
Because for many years, I thought I was just weak. I put it on me that I was just too weak to stand up for myself and actually make it happen. And turns out I wasn't. I was just learning the lessons. And yeah, we separated. I had to stand my ground. But then now things are like better than ever. We're actually really fun to be around.
Well, I think every relationship goes through that. We got ups and downs. I mean, that's just life. Is just life. And if you don't blow it out of the water, if you kind of look at it like you did and you get apart from him, but he had options to either pony up or go away. And you let him know that's it. Either pony up or I'm going away. And he decided, whoa, I'm about to lose the best thing that ever happened to me. I need to straighten my. So it was kind of a divorce to who you were married to, but it didn't have to be on paper or anything. But you got the outcome that you deserved and that you needed. And that's good. And good on him that he can make those kind of changes himself. Good on him. But it's because you're so beautiful and you're so charming. And you're so smart. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the package.
Thank you. Thank you. I try to do my best. Sometimes I look at him and I'm joking with Clarice. I'm like, you do realize how lucky you are, right?
I've said that to mine too. Do you know who you're talking to right now?
Right,
you're talking to Miss Nona.
Right. Miss Nona.
Miss Nona.
I love that. I love it. Oh, okay. So I wrote down, after our conversation today, I wrote down, I want you to tell the plane crash story.
Okay. This was back in, I don't remember, I should have looked it up, but it was a plane crash that happened, American Eagle plane that crashed in northern Indiana on Halloween night. And I believe it was in 1993. And of course, I was working full time and I had done some readings when I got home from work. And I was just thinking, I had trick or treaters. I turned the light off and I just sat down for about an hour and a half. I was going to watch some TV and Spirit said, you need to go to bed. I'm going, go to bed? It's only 8:30. No, you need to go to bed right now. And so I was a little put out by it, but okay. So I went to bed. That night when I was sleeping, I suddenly was transported to the field where that plane had crashed. And in this field were many light workers, which I didn't really understand all of that then, but many light workers. And our job was to take care of a piece of the pie because there were so many people that had perished that we had specific areas that we were in charge of to call their loved ones from spirit world to come and get them. And I'm doing that. It was raining. It was cold. It was pitch dark, but none of that mattered. I could see clearly. I wasn't bothered by the rain or the cold. And all of a sudden I felt something moving. I looked up and the clouds were roiling back, huge black clouds that were just roiling back. And this beautiful light started coming through. And as it came through, it like made a beacon. And all these loved ones from the other side came to collect their people within this circle. And I remember there was a man sitting on his suitcase. I know there's no way could have, everything was blown up, but this is what they showed me. He's sitting on his suitcase and he's just sobbing and sobbing. And I said, you've got to come to the light. Come with me. Let's go to the light. And he said, I can't. I just can't. I can't. And come to find out, he had been in business with his brother and had deliberately taken advantage of that and ruined his brother for his own gain. He could not face that fact. He just was not going to leave. His lovely people from the other side came down and they were just kind of milling around, but he was not moving. There was another woman that refused to go to the light. I have children. I can't be dead. She just kept saying it over and over. So I just had to kind of keep them safe and protect. I figured it out. But I remember being disturbed that these lovely spirits are coming down from, and they're here to get you, your mother, your grandmother, your great uncle, people from other lives. You just ignore them. And it kind of, that's what happens in life too. A lot of times we get it right in our face and we just ignore it. We choose to ignore it, and we'd rather be in that pain. And I think when I got done with that, I didn't know that people did that. I didn't know that we did that. I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that. That was a thing, to go to the sites, to draw the spirits to come and collect these people. I didn't know that. And it has made a big difference in my life ever since then, that I need to pay attention to everything. I need to be aware of everything. And especially when it comes to that kind of work. I did have a woman that called me after the thing with the airplane. And I had, she was sister. She was a Catholic nun. Her name was Sister Pat. And I had been telling her and another friend about it, but she called me about 3 weeks later, and she goes, you're never going to believe this. I said, what? She said, well, I just got back from LA, and there was a conference out there, and there was a priest that came and told the same story you did about that field and all the light workers that were there, and the clouds rolling back, and the beautiful white light. It was lit up like daylight when they were coming down. I still get chills when I talk about it. So that was a major thing for me, because I didn't know we did that. And I've done it several times since. The good news, I told Spirit, if it's something I need to remember for a specific reason, okay, but I don't need to know all the details of that. That's what I do. If I need to go to Brazil overnight, and I didn't lose sleep over it. I was fine. Right. So it was an aspect of what I do that I didn't know I could do.
Wow. That is what, but what a gift though, to be able to help souls in that moment, because yes, we all transition just fine. We all go to the other side just fine. But I think in those moments, and there were similar stories told by psychics and mediums when 9/11 happened.
Yes.
That there were a ton of people called, like, very, very similar story, that this was a major event. A lot of souls were called forward to help with this shocking transition, because when you are going through that, like as the human, and then you're all of a sudden knocked out of your body, you're like, whoa, hey, like it takes a minute to adjust and realize what's happening, and be able to accept that it's time to go on. So, what a beautiful story though. I love that. And the fact that you got validation from a priest in LA, that's amazing. Now we've got frozen Nona again. I had a dream I helped children go up by touching their feet, and it was bright. It felt so real. Wow, that's cool, Mystic Moon. That is awesome.
Yes. I didn't know that things like that even happened. I was not aware of any of that until I was called to do it.
Wow.
And I felt honored. I felt honored, like I had something very important that I had done to help all those people that were in my little piece of the pie, except for the two that wouldn't. I think there was another one too, but I've forgotten that one. I just remember the woman that kept saying, I can't be dead. I've got kids. Okay.
Right. Right.
I don't know what to tell you, honey.
Right. Well, and again, it has to be so shocking in that moment when
Yes.
something like that happens. You know, your soul and body are still attached. They're still tethered. And it sometimes it takes a minute for the
Yes.
reality to set in. And
Yes.
and as we all know, a minute on the other side can be 10 years. Like
Right.
it
Right.
may
1,000.
not, it could be whatever. So so I love all of this. I'm so excited that you were able, that you agreed to come on and to do all the things. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to put your information in the chat so people can find you, because you don't, like you don't do a website or anything like that.
No.
You're like,
No, I made
too many things to manage, and that's okay. That's all right. So here we go. I'm going to put your link to your Facebook page. So people can reach out to you if they want to. There we go. If they want to reach out to you for a reading.
Yeah, my email address.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I put your Facebook page, so they can just go follow you on Facebook. But
Okay.
your email is Miss Nona. Miss Nona, what? Is there some numbers?
At AOL.com. That's all.
So,
Miss Nona at AOL.com.
AOL.com. Cool. Put that in the chat as well. So that way, if people want to find you, whether they watch this later or if they watch it now or they watch it later.
Okay.
So over in TikTok. So one of our viewers, Angel, says, I helped children out of the Asheville, North Carolina mudslides in 2024 in her dreams. Didn't know others did that or if it was real.
Love that. Hallelujah.
Yeah. I know. And then there was somebody else, Mystic Moon Gypsy said, I had a dream. I helped children go up by touching their feet and it was bright and it felt so real. I had no idea.
Yes. Yes. See work. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Nona's not on TikTok, Orbit Girl. She's only on Facebook. So you have to, if you go to see on the last thing of this banner right here, if you go to that place, you'll see her in person and all of her information is in the chat. But you can also email her at missnona@aol.com.
Yep.
Yeah, you're welcome. So people are asking. I'm making sure they know how to find you.
Okay. Yeah.
In the chat and doing all the things. And
I just appreciate you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I've been so excited for about a week. I've been so excited. And I was scared to death again, thinking I couldn't get my computer up and going. But once it did, I knew it'd be fine. I knew we would be great together. Yeah.
We're good.
We're good. Blonde. What are we going to do? Blonde, blue eye, what are we going to do?
And now we've got Miss Kim coming in. Okay, I've got to have you meet Miss Kim, because I feel like you guys would be besties also. Okay. She's fantastic. So we're going to bring Kim in. So just so you guys know, Miss Nona, are you going to hang out with me and Kim for a little bit? Yes. All right. Here comes Miss Kim. We're going to bring her up.
Good morning, or after mid morning.
Yeah, it's 11:30 here. It's fine. Kim, this is my friend Miss Nona. She was she was the very first psychic reader that I ever went to.
Oh my goodness!
And she laid out my life, and it played out exactly how she said it was going to.
No kidding, Miss Nona. Well, I'm in the latter part of my life. I could use a little help.
Anything you need, darling, let me know.
Oh, you were so sweet. The first person I've told Lorenda this, I don't know if she remembers, but I was 5 when I attended my first seance. So, and Lorenda and I connected because my parents, my mother and her sisters were spiritualists and took me to Camp Chesterfield every year when I was little.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm always searching, I'm always looking for what's next for me.
But that's what I love about you. And that's why you're on here, Kim, because we're going to talk about your journey and how you and I kind of crossed paths, which was so crazy. And how and where you are now. And I think I'm one of your biggest fans now.
Oh, please. I'm one of your biggest fans. I mean, you put a crown on, you had me a crown.
It's
Where's my crown? I don't have that, but I have an old tiara that was mine when I would dance. Oh, and we dance. I mean, you really dance. But
we dance. We dance.
I really dance.
No, we might have to get you a tiara. We might have to get you a tiara, my friend.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling left out here. I don't have anything I can put on my head.
Well, there's a lampshade. You could always put the lampshade on your head.
Well,
then I make a mess. The thing will fall over. That'll fall over. Everything starts cracking on the ground. No, let's not do that.
Okay.
No lampshades.
I have to sip a tea. I'm sorry, it's early morning. I need a little tea.
no, I've got Celsius, so it's like
Yeah,
it's
I got water.
it's my coffee. Well, and
Well,
so
cheers. Okay.
Yeah, cheers, friends. Cheers to this is going to be so fun. So Kim, and first of all, let me finish up with Miss Nona. Miss Nona, thank you so much, and you're welcome to hang out because I think you'll be a valuable asset to this conversation. And now my dog seems to think so. Can you all hear her?
Yeah.
I must have something being delivered because someone's on the porch bark.
Get you. Hurry up.
She loses her mind. She loses her mind. And then they go away and she's like, okay, I'm ready for a nap. Miss Olive. She's my Olive. All right. So see, told you. She's like almost done. All right. So Kim, let's talk about your journey and why you are here. First of all, yes, you and I met because you had
I signed up for one of those little 10-minute readings because I'm always wanting to know about me because it's all about me, right? And and I chose Lorenda just, randomly because the universe put her in front of me. So we connected and I'm like, you have to be on my podcast. You're adorable. She goes, I'm adorable? I'm like, yes, you're adorable.
Isn't she though?
It's funny the things we remember in life, ask me other things, but I can remember what people wear, what I said,
I feel that. Nona and I were talking about that earlier. Like I can't remember if I ate breakfast yesterday, but I remember everything about the reading she gave me 30 years ago. Because it was so impactful. It was so impactful. So Kim,
yes, love.
Let's talk about your podcast and what's your MO? Like tell people about you.
Okay. Well, my podcast I started called Ignite Your Spark in 2020 because the world was a little dim and I felt everybody needed some light. And how it came about is because for 45 days, I posted something on social media that was silly, ridiculous, anything to make people laugh and smile, like under a minute. I called it a motivational minute or something like that. And I don't know, I'm not going to say it went viral because it didn't, but people enjoyed it. And I then turned that into a class called Ignite Your Spark from my many years of studying everything under the sun and theater and improv and creativity coaching, and created a class where I had about 20 women. I did 2 classes in ways to ignite your spark. I don't know, I made it up, And then I decided I'd always wanted to be an interviewer and broadcaster because I went to graduate school to be a broadcast journalist, and that didn't happen. So I decided I'll start my own podcast. So on my 64th birthday, I think in 2020, I started Ignite Your Spark and interviewed 175 amazing people. It's not really going on anymore. Well, it's still out there and people still listen, but I don't do the interviews as often because it just took so much time. I paid to do a podcast. I paid to I didn't get paid and I didn't get advertising and it was okay, but it just came to its natural stop last year. But then I've done a couple of others. So I kind of just do when someone interests me, I do a podcast,
Yeah.
And if people listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't, obviously. So I did that. But that same year I decided, well, I guess it was 2021. I decided to go back into to try acting again. And so I got an agent and I started doing acting, and I've done a bunch of commercials and it's been fun. It's dried up. So I think there's something more coming. I don't know what, but it might be a different tack. I tried to be a speaker. Well, I did some talks, but again, I was paying to do these talks. I'd fly places and do talks on how to ignite your spark at any age, because I'm really passionate about people feeling like they're too old and too this and too that, and they shouldn't. Mostly too old, because the white hair. And so, sorry, things are happening. Sorry, spirit. What did I do? Oh my goodness. Lost the earplug, spilled the tea, but that's kind of me as my husband. All over the place.
Oh no.
He's like, can you wear an apron? No.
No.
Okay. So anyway, I love acting. I love performing. I love pretending I'm someone else. I also love motivating people. So now I'm obsessive about TikTok and doing silly things. Isn't that crazy?
I call it my personal MTV.
Yes. Plus, they're my friends. I mean, I see you every day, so of course you're my friend. We don't live next door, but we're friends.
We're friends. I would totally hang out with you. I'm going to be in California in January, but I'm going to be in Santa Barbara area.
Not that close.
Not that close at all. Not even close.
I'm going to be in Sweden in January.
Oh, well, that sounds
Doesn't
cool.
Everyone go to Sweden in January? No.
No.
This is pretty cool. So when I was trying to get the acting thing going, and I still audition a ton. I came close to 3 jobs that were supposed to be today. I was on wait list for them. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do the, crowned medium if I get these jobs. Well, I didn't, they fell apart, I'm like, okay, fine. There's a reason. And so I audition all the time, but the roles have not been coming in fast and furiously as I want them.
But I love watching your journey and the humbleness. I love watching you're like, I'm on set, I'm getting ready to do an audition. This is my outfit of the day. And I find that you living out loud inspires me to live out loud.
Good.
And I know it does it for other people as well, because I tell you what, I'm 54 and there are times I'm like, should I just hang it all up? What am I doing on TikTok? What am I doing? And I'm like, but wait, Kim is living out loud. Kim is auditioning still. Kim has an agent. Kim is doing the hustle. She's putting in the work. She's putting in the time. And I'm like, listen, I can do it.
Good. And I appreciate that because I realized that I was looking for my purpose. Still, my word of the year last year was service. How can I be of service? And I realized I'm being of service to others by doing that, by showing up and living out loud. My year for next year is purpose, living on purpose with purpose, but I actually I can't kind of communicate all my words every year. Before that, it was a threesome. It was community, connection, and collaboration. I just like all those things. So TikTok, I don't know. But my goal is if I am just now influencing 2 or 3 people to ignite their spark, to step out, that's my job. That's my purpose. Because we search so much for what's my purpose? Well, at least I do, where am I in this part of my life? But I have to tell you about Sweden. Can I tell you about Sweden? It's pretty cool.
Yes. And also, can I tell you really quick before you tell me about Sweden? Angel in TikTok says, same. I also follow her and have gotten out of the I am too old mindset. I feel 50 years young. So see?
Oh, Angel, thank you. I love that. And of course, your name is Angel and I have angel bumps. Yes, of course.
There you go. All right. So tell us about Sweden.
Okay. I couldn't figure out how to get on TikTok and with my earphones.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yes. So anyway, not doing that, but hi TikTok people.
Okay.
Okay. So when I was trying to act and all that, I'm Googling modeling agencies for older women or older people or something. And I found an agency in Stockholm called Golden Age Models. And I just reached out to them and they were brand new. They were pretty new then. So this was about 2020, 2021. And I said, well, I live in the States, but can I sign up? Sure. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up. And if they book you, they get a commission, whatever it is. And so for the past 3-4 years, I've been a part of that. I've auditioned for a couple of things. I've gotten close to a couple of things in Europe, but I didn't get them because of course they don't want to spend the money to fly someone, from the States, but that may not be it either. Maybe I was wrong for the part. So they have a gala every year in January. And I know the 2 women who started it, we're sort of friends and, Zoom friends. And I said, I'd love to go to the gala, but it is January in Sweden. A little far, a little cold. And then they got back to me and said, well, you used to train models, didn't you? In one of my lives. And I said, yes, I did. And they said, well, we like to use our own models as model to help us because everybody has different skills. We will give you airfare to come over and train our models in January. Now, let's just be real. The airfare that I looked at when I quoted it to them was a heck of a lot less than what I ended up spending. But, hey, it's okay. And then my husband decided, well, if you're going to Stockholm, I should probably go because we've never been. And, so
Might
now
as
we're
well.
having a trip to Stockholm, and I get to see Stockholm through the eyes of people who live there. That is my favorite thing about traveling.
Me too. Because I'm a traveler.
I know you're a traveler.
I'm a traveler, and I convinced myself that I stay in Indiana because it's less to live here and I can afford to travel more.
Right. Absolutely. Good point.
That's where I am. But that is amazing. I've not been to Sweden before.
Yeah.
So now we're going to follow up and also I'm getting this idea of the golden years models. Like I feel like in my mid 50s, that could be a thing. I actually thought about getting an agent. I modeled back in the day. I've been on some commercials. I've been on Dance Moms, but like, I just never pursued it professionally because we couldn't afford it. Because at the time, the agency in Indiana wanted me to have a portfolio, which in the mid 80s was like $1,500. And my mom was like, yeah, we're on welfare. So no, that's not happening.
Right.
And I just I went to modeling school.
I know I did it all too.
Did all the things. And I did like runway stuff at the malls, for LS Airs, whatever. And the stores. But then I got to be, and dancers make great models, by the way.
I know. Believe me, I know.
Presence and understanding. But I thought about doing it again. And I mentioned it to my husband. He was like, I'm like, listen, just because I'm not 20 anymore doesn't mean I can't work. Does not mean I can't work a runway.
No, it's so wrong. Of course you can. There's not as many opportunities for runway these days, because I had my own fashion show production company. I was the fashion director at Saks Fifth Avenue in Palo Alto at one point, and hired models and trained models and produced fashion shows. And that was my purpose at the time. It was really fabulous. It was for schools. And I got paid, but it was my purpose. I was very, very good at it. I loved it. It was so much fun. It gave me such joy and creativity and fulfillment. And I'm always looking for that. I told the Golden Age models they should bring it over to the States. They are so busy. It is such a popular thing. You should follow them on Instagram, Golden Age models. The models are gorgeous. They're over 40. To me, 40 is so young. I'm like, that's hardly a Golden Age model.
Correct.
You do have to sign something saying that you will do no enhancements or cosmetic surgery on your face. So it cuts out a lot of people.
Cuts me out.
Oh,
I don't go crazy, but sometimes.
Well, I did that. I did some Botox, but I stopped because I signed it with them, and I thought I'm just going to stop. And so what? But I do have things cut off all the time. I had 2 biopsies yesterday from my dermatologist. That'll make
you can't help that. That's still part of the natural.
No, that's part. That is not at all
not
cosmetic. Yeah, that's growing up in Miami Beach, Florida, and so. But anyway, I'm super excited about Sweden, and I'm excited about any opportunities coming my way. I ask for them constantly. Why should we sit and do nothing? Just because I'm 69 doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and read a book all day. I love to read, but no.
Right. Well, and I think the hope is, we are, even now, 70s, not old. Like people are still very active, girl. Like I'm just seeing you're like, I'm in ballet class today, and you're like dancing pretty well. Like traveling, living your best life, staying healthy. Like we are much more informed now than what we were as even Gen Xers back then. I remember thinking people in their 40s were just ancient.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's also how you grew up. Now, my parents passed my mother when I was 22, and my dad when I was 28. So I saw the aging process. I saw death. I saw illness. But I also, good or bad, So I just assume I'm just who I am today because I am who I am. I don't know. I do think a lot of it is innate, your personality. I chose this personality, and I'm grateful every day when I say my thank yous for this personality. This is who I am.
Yeah. Now, what's your astrological sign?
Libra.
Libra. See, that cracks me up.
Really?
You're just so, because you have Leo vibe. You've got fire sign vibe.
I know. I know. Yeah,
sure.
I think so.
But
well, I don't know. I was adopted. I found that out when I was 22, part of my story.
Oh gosh, okay.
When my mom died. And I don't know my exact time of birth because it looks like I was born to my parents because my dad was a lawyer. And they made it look like I was their child and they never told me. I found out through some letters and things that I was adopted. So I did have it. What's it called when I did speak with an astrologer who was able to use all of my life events and approximate my time of birth. But it's very hard because I can't get an exact natal chart reading because I don't know.
No.
So I don't know where the Leo is, but I know it's in there. I mean, I know. I gave birth to a Leo. That's a lot of it.
Yeah. We are a handful.
Yes,
not only that, like not only I'm an oldest child Leo, married to an oldest child Leo.
Oh my goodness.
And I have my oldest child is a redheaded Leo.
You got it, babe. We're a train wreck. It's wow. See, now I'm married to a Libra. My dad was a Libra. The woman, like my nanny, was a Libra. I was surrounded by these sort of trying to be imbalanced people.
Balance. Wow.
Yeah. But I know that Leo energy and it is strong.
Yes, it is. We do things like wear crowns and we have to be the center of attention at all times.
But so do I.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like you've got Leo in your chart somewhere because you definitely live out loud. And I love that about you. I love that your purpose, even if it's just for this moment in time,
right?
Because I do believe our purpose can shift and change.
Oh, absolutely.
And our trajectories can shift and change. But I feel like you serve a beautiful purpose right now of inspiring people, that have adult children, that are empty nesters, that are living their best life. And we don't see it as like Nona told me 30 years ago, I was going to live well into my 80s. So what am I going to do for the next 30 years?
Right. Nona, please tell me I'm going to live well into my hundreds healthfully because 80 is really coming so close for me. I'm like, oh, no. I mean, I'm already planning. What am I going to do to celebrate 70 next year?
I love
but I want, what it is? I love to travel. But
wait. Oh, what'd you say? Oh, Nona, you cut out. What'd you say? She's been having internet issues. It's all the spirits around her. Oh, she'll come back.
Yeah, they knocked over my tea. It wasn't me.
No. They're like, listen, spirits, quit being bullies. Mind your business. Mind your business.
But Lorenda, I have a question for you. Don't you feel like, yes, our purpose changes, but there is a thread running through that is the same through all the different parts of our lives?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I could speak on myself
that's right.
Of that. So like dance has been my life since age 3. We lost Nona. Her internet's been acting up all day. We've been, but as a teacher, and Nona told me years ago, you'll be hands-on. I'm like, I'm not really a hands-on person. Okay. But she's like, you'll be a healer and you can do that through dance. And that made so much sense to me. And now here I am moving into this space. And she told me years ago that I would be doing this work. And I'm like, but I don't see dead people. She told me years ago I'd be a psychic medium.
Wow.
And here we are all these years later, as I transition from, I don't know that I'll ever not teach dance or not do dance, but my body's like, are you?
Whew. It's a lot.
Like, girl, you can't do 15 hours a week of teaching.
Oh no.
Like that's a lot. It's one thing to go to the gym or to go to take class occasionally, but that's a lot.
The energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but now my purpose my underlying theme has always been teacher and healer. Teacher and healer.
Yeah.
And helping other people see their worth. Help them
that's beautiful.
Their spark, find their joy, find what they're meant to do, whether that's dance or other. How can dance help them? How can they my dance classes are never just about dance. It's about life lessons.
I know. I would love to take one of your dance classes. No, I really, and I feel that we are on that similar path. I mean, dance has been a part of my life since 3. I never was inspired to teach it. I taught gymnastics a little bit in college to make some money, you know, all that. But I love dance. I say it was my first love, you know? And so I love how you have transferred that to now this part, because you are seeing in dance, there is so much beauty. And you see the beauty in people when you are bringing out their truth through your psychic gifts. That just came to me too. Aww. And so you are giving them that presence of beauty that is innate within them, which I believe we all have. And especially when you see yourself on a dance floor and you're in a tutu and you're 3 or you're 30 or you're 60, there is so much beauty and grace in that. And you are able to bring that out in them. And I just know that you're such a positive influence on your students. So it makes perfect sense.
I try to be, but thank you for saying that. And I find as I get older, I'm definitely nicer as I get older. I used to be the mean teacher.
Oh,
I know.
Nasty. I would not have gone to you. I would not have liked that.
Well, I don't think I was mean. I think people just didn't like to hear like, hey, how about you not pick your nose?
Right. Or quit talking in my case.
Right. I mean, I worked for a dance studio for a few years that was hardcore competitive. Like they recruited all the top-notch kids from other studios and put together this amazing competitive team. And if you didn't act right, you were removed from class, like period.
Yeah.
And so I was probably the nicer of the teachers, but I did not put up with anything. Like, if you want to compete at an elite level, you have to have an elite attitude. Period. Yeah. Like, and if you don't want to, cool, go to rec class. Don't come to my class though, because you're going to get your butt kicked in my class.
Well, I think that's true of any competitive sport.
Correct.
As well. You probably did all types of dance, but when I was growing up, the only thing available was ballet. So I did the very strict, and it took me a long time. Well, I went to a little local ballet until my mother found a Russian ballet teacher, you know, the ruler on your legs kind of teacher. Yeah. And I stopped as a young teenager because it was so strict, you know, it was. And I thought, I am never doing ballet again. Well, what do I love more than anything now? And in my 20s, I went back to ballet. I gave up. I didn't give up. I put in jazz, tap, you know, Broadway, all of those. And now I just do Zumba because my toes don't hurt like they used to. But I am the Zumba girl out there kind of grooving and moving, you know. And then there's this other thing. Have you ever heard of it called, what's it called? I can't remember. It's like a hip hop exercise class. And I look like this little white ballerina in there, you know, and everybody else is like getting down. Whoops. Chris. Anyway, but your gift of dance brings me great joy.
Oh, good. That? Oh, good. You're good. Yeah, people are like, you should do dance TikToks. I'm like, no.
Why? I do them.
And now I could see myself stepping into this space. But no, I'll tell you what it is. When I do post dance videos, like they get zero traction. Nobody watches them.
They want the medium.
Like, point.
They want the ground medium.
Right.
We do.
My other account, my real life Lorenda account, that's my actual personal MTV where I'll post my travels. I get traction over there. And before it was hijacked, I had a Gen X account. I had like 28,000 followers on that. And then someone stole that account. So I had to start over. But now I'll put dance stuff over there. I'll put, you know, whatever. That's just like my personal MTV. The mediumship is very niche, obviously very niche, but I try to tie some of those life experiences into spirit work and show regular life and how it can thread in with spirit. And I feel like, you know, knowing you the way I do and knowing you, how you believe and that we're on the same page when it comes to spirit guides and spirit team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love that you could do that. Like you can take that sense of how do I take real life, inspire, like understand, utilize spirit team, utilize this belief system and make it my best life.
And yet, don't you find also what I found? Well, maybe it's the algorithm feeding it too. Excuse me, that the whole media, the mediumship, the tarot, everything is so, well, of course it's more popular because we're coming into the new age of enlightenment.
Exactly.
And I get that. And I used to be in the closet, I was afraid to tell people I believed in all of this, but I'm so grateful now. And I just use it as spirit guiding me to bring wisdom out in a little dance video, in a little clothing video, because it's all about a positive attitude. And you have to know someone's guiding you. Someone's guiding you to do that.
Right.
And well, I know and I want everybody to watch you, listen to you, work with you, because you're really special. You're amazing. And I love that. I mean, if you don't come up on my algorithm, I search for your name every day because I want to see what you're doing. Yeah, of course.
That makes you feel good. Because sometimes it feels like, honestly, especially in TikTok world, I feel like sometimes I'm just putting stuff out there and I hope it lands and it sticks somewhere, because it's so easy to get lost like you see these people that literally come on, they just listen to a sound or they play a sound and they just sit there and do nothing and they get millions of views.
I'm like, what? I have 102 on this very cute video. What?
Right. Not only did I film the video, make it a transition video, and come up with the really cool all the things, edit it, and then I get 12 views on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? We let it go.
I know. And that's where you
let it go.
You find, and going back to ignite your spark, you know what? If making the videos brings you joy,
right,
then make the videos.
Exactly.
Because you know what? Somebody out there is going to see someone like you or even someone like me and go, listen, if they're doing it, then I can do it too.
I just can't get my message across enough. Life is short. Yes. What are you waiting for? Wear the pin, wear the big jewelry, wear the red lip. Just live your life and be spectacular, because we are all gifted this light inside of us, and we are meant to shine that light. And that is the message I am meant to share today, because I was thinking, what does she want me on for? What am I going to bring to the table? And I'm like, no, it's shine your freaking light, people. Because you have it, just whatever it is, in whatever way. Bake cookies for your neighbors. I don't care what it is. You've got it. You've got something that needs to be shared.
Right. We don't come here to stay in the shadows. We don't come here to, and maybe your shining light is that you do help people on the back end. Because, as far as I'm concerned, if we're going to make the analogy of whether it's modeling, whether it's stage productions, theater productions, it couldn't be done without the people that are in the shadows, that are geniuses.
Right.
And embracing that purpose of stepping into your own authenticity. What are you meant to do? What are you good at? How do you bring joy to others? And if that means you are the support team, then freaking own it.
Right. You don't have to be the person out in front. No. One other thing that came to me that I do in my talks, which I feel like I'm being led to say, is don't be the psychic vampire in the room. Don't walk into a room like this. Right. Notice the frown lines. Walk into a room and own it. Even if you aren't the center of attention, even if you don't like to be an extrovert, go into a room, especially this holiday season. Don't do I have to go to this holiday party. I get to go to this holiday party. Find one person to talk to and shine your light, and then they will shine theirs.
Exactly. And I think that is so important. It's every day we get up and put our feet on the floor is a gift.
Absolutely.
And
be grateful.
And you know what? I know people who say that's a good example, actually. Like, oh, I've got to go to this Christmas party. No, I'm fortunate. I got an invitation to go to a Christmas party. I'm invited someplace. This is awesome.
Yes.
I want to be invited. And you know what? When you walk in with that authenticity, you might turn heads, be like, ooh, okay. But also my job. And in those situations, I love to go into a space and create a safe space for people to feel like they can also be authentic.
Yes.
They can shine themselves. And that's in my opinion, that's my purpose. Even as a medium, I'm trying to help people embrace who they can best be.
Yes.
How to become the best version of themselves. And if that means I have to lead by example, even if I'm having the most insecure day, because we have those. We have those. Like, who am I to be on this, doing this show, doing this talk? Who am I?
Right.
Who's going to listen to me? Well, guess what? 8 people today. You're welcome. 8 whole people watched me today. So that's
I love that. But they'll find you elsewhere. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to really promote this because of also some health things, but I'm letting that go. And I am learning now that I can't just expect someone to heal me, teach me, do this. I have to do the work myself.
Yes.
Anyway, that's a whole other story, but
true. And in the journey of finding your spark, that truly is the key, is that we cannot look externally for others to fill our voids. We cannot look externally for others to do the work for us, to have the answers for us. It's how do I find my own spark, find my own joy? How do I align myself in places that bring out the best in me?
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And I truly believe that what you do and the space you create in TikTok world and on the social truly embodies that. And I it's a gift. It's truly a gift. And you are a gift to everything that we do here.
Thank you.
You know,
that made my day. That really makes my day because as you know, it's like you said, you get 12 views on something and you're like, oh gosh, but to have it affirmed by someone else, it's really special. And I hope I'm there for you as well that way.
And Jamie over in TikTok says, damn, I needed y'all's words today.
Oh, I'm so glad. See, we helped one person.
See, I love
8 people. We helped 8 people. Yes. And please wear sunscreen so that you don't have things cut out of your head. I've had three Mohs surgeries, and let's all pray that these are not basal cells. So.
They're going to be fine.
They're going to be fine.
They're going to be fine. I feel it. You have too much work to do. I
have work to do.
Inspire. Yeah. So yeah, and I feel that being a fair skinned person and like baby oil and iodine life back in the 80s, 70s and 80s. I've had a few removed myself.
Yeah.
So we just go with it and we wear sunscreen.
Yep.
And we exfoliate, we do all the things. So well, tell people where they can find you.
Well, come play with me on TikTok, Kim Duff Selby, or Instagram, Kim Duff Selby, or YouTube, Kim Duff Selby. It's kind of the same content that I sort of recycle everywhere. I love TikTok because it's so uncurated. My kids aren't on there. They don't care what I do. No one cares what I do. Right. On Instagram, I have to be a little more not buttoned up, but you know, it's just different.
Yeah, it is different on the other socials because owning a dance studio, I'm like, what if I come up on the FYP of my families? Right. At this point, I don't care.
No, and they know.
And they know me. Yeah. Sometimes my kids will be like, Miss Lorenda, what's your other job? Like they know, know, but and they're just trying to get me to say it. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think it is?
I was going to ask if you're out in the dance world. I love that.
I am. And actually I've read for so many like actual famous dancers. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
Like people I look up to. We'll reach out to me, be like, do you have time for a reading today? I'm like, I don't know. Let me look. Schedule.
Do you know who you need to follow? Shout out to Harper Watts from the Houston Ballet. This gorgeous Black man who his lines are exquisite. And Houston Ballet, I don't know if it's TikTok or Instagram, but I love him. And I've messaged him and he sometimes gets back to me. And he's a principal dancer now. Oh my God, I love it. I love when the algorithm feeds me the dancers because I think dancers are the most exquisite humans. So
I think mine gets flooded with studio owners, funny content, and a lot of tap dance.
Well, I love tap. I love your tap. The Gardner brothers.
They are Irish, aren't they?
I know, but they're Irish, but they live in Nashville and they do. I mean, but it's tap, but it's
Irish.
It is Irish.
Irish hard shoe. Very different from American tap.
It is, but I love it anyway.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Absolutely. I wish I could do it, but I don't have the bandwidth to learn all that now.
No. Did I tell you? I don't know if I told you that I tried out to be in the chorus of 42nd Street when I was in my 20s on Broadway. Did not make it. I also tried out for chorus line, did not make that. But I think my tap skills were pretty good at the time, but you had to fit into the costume of the girl who they were replacing, apparently. So
that's a thing.
I know. And so I'm just going to, that's why I didn't, not because of my lack
you know what? I would go with that all day long because I've seen the choreography from 42nd Street, and you know what? It is
Not hard.
It's not that hard. It's just very
No.
precise.
It
But
is
yes,
precise.
and that's something I tell people, like my kids that are auditioning. I've got kids trying to be professional. I've got one girl who made it to final cuts of the national tour of Elf in New York. Like I'll tell them, sometimes it has nothing to do with your talent and everything to do with if you can fit in a costume they already
That's
have.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like
so this is our little words of wisdom. Fit into your own costume today.
That's right.
And shine your own light.
Right.
Don't be someone else.
Right. Right. Well, Kim, I'm so glad you came on. I'm so glad you came on and inspired people today. I'm so excited for you. And I love following your journey. Make sure you guys are following her, Kim Duff Selby, and igniting your spark. Yeah. So, and if just so you guys know, if you would like to see the full video with Miss Nona and Miss Kim, they're on the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram. Well, the Instagram won't be a replay because I'm too lazy to wait for it to upload. I always end up uploading it out. But Facebook and YouTube, the Crowned Medium, you can see all my shows. And next week I've got Michelle Medium coming on, and Meg Wolsifer will be on, a spirit artist. So I'm excited. I've got some pretty heavy hitting, some pretty good. Meg Wolsifer is a Camp Chesterfield medium.
Oh,
I know. You'll have to make sure to watch. You'll love her.
Yeah, I will. I probably won't be watching it live, but I'll watch it.
Because it's so early. Also, for coming on so early, you look fabulous. Like
little lippy.
Yeah, little lippy. So, all right. Well, thank you all for coming to watch and hanging out. Thank you, Kim, for being part of the show today. And I want everybody to go out and have an amazing day today. All right.
Shine your light. Shine your light.
Shine your light. All right. And check it out. I even have an outro. Check this out. We're going to play some music. I know. I'm so cool.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe now, and we will see you next time on the